Hi, Veno here. We've looked at the current point of an as death within and as this existence, that when you die, this life, it's done, the end, for self within and as this existence, eternally. It's the finality. It's where we are now within this existence, the finality. It was inevitable. There's definitely no way we can continue as is, or even be accepted and allowed to continue as is. There's got to be a line, and we've drawn it. And lo and behold, the only ones that can and will make a difference, a stop, a change, is the very creators of ourselves and what is here. Us, ourselves, individually and together. Individually and together meaning those individuals that stand up together will and can make a change that is best for all in walking the principle of and as equality and oneness. Individually and together does not mean all of humanity is needed or required to change this world through ourselves. There will probably be beings stupid enough to try and attempt to challenge what we're saying through or by waiting for death. But when you're dead, it's kind of going to be too late because you can't come back. So I suggest consider having common sense as one of your primary attributes and assist and support yourself in seeing what this reality as self and internal reality as self is in fact showing or revealing about and of self. And doing this through and by introspection and self-investigation into the reality of self and the world. And you'll in fact see for yourself the reality of what we're showing you. That individually and together we're responsible for what is here within ourselves, our worlds, and the world as a whole. And that through assisting and supporting yourself in walking, writing, and speaking of and as self-forgiveness, which is taking the first steps of walking with breath and self-honesty as the process of introspection and self-investigation, you'll see and prove to yourself that you can and will in fact change you. Each being just needs to see, realize, and live this together, and do this in and as a principle that's best for all, equal and one. So we change ourselves and together within that context, and so change the world. Alright, now that we've looked at another perspective within the point of self as the context of developing, establishing common sense in assisting and supporting self to realize that we're responsible for who we are and how and what we live, so as to open a window of opportunity for those willing to see and hear. And so literally start waking up and wiping the sleep off of their eyes as their manifested pre-programming of an as mind. Let's get to the discussion within this particular specific interview, which is children and the birthing of children within and as this world or reality. Let's be frank. We've really fucked up this reality. Equal to and one with how we fucked up ourselves. Really, you just need to take the simple step of looking, and in that looking, seeing how we're in fact accepting and allowing ourselves to exist within our own, and so also within this world as a whole. The rich and the elite think or believe that they're protected from manifested consequence, that what happens in other parts of this world doesn't and won't affect them. Though I have one point for you to consider. Money, in the current internal state or condition of the human being of mind, will not protect you from other human beings and will not protect you from yourself. There's events playing out in this world where people that's been friends for years suddenly turn against each other and kill. No one in fact knows each other because no one in fact knows themselves on all levels, through and through, into and as a conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. So we're not protected from ourselves. Money cannot do that. So the rich and elite we suggest reassessing and reevaluating this perception or idea you have about or of safety. This world is slowly but surely self-destructing as we within ourselves is accepting and allowing ourselves to self-destruct as the self deconstructs into and as the constructs of an as mind, and we've separated ourselves into parts as personalities, as we've lost total control, directive principle of who we are and how and what we live through and as our own human physical bodies, equal to and one with how we've in fact lost control, directive principle within and as this world as a whole. So we're out of control, literally, internally and externally. So you literally have a mind, a system running you, for you, through you. This should be concerning that you don't have directive principle of you within yourself, that you yourself don't in fact thus know what you're capable of. Again, you don't in fact know yourself. As we continue with these interviews, we'll obviously go into the design, manifestation of an as self as the mind consciousness system. And self will in fact see for self the extent of possession we're in fact in through the physical as mind. So each human being will face their manifested consequence. No matter where you are, you cannot hide from reality, the physical, real reality of self. You're as much part of this world as any other human being, and this world is all's manifested consequence together, equal and one. So, obviously, within this, you're going to face manifested consequence with and along with everyone together, equal and one. Therefore, to assist and support self in getting a move on, in facing, stopping and standing up from manifest consequence within self and one's world, is suggested, and stopping the hope as the dangling carrot for a better life or the continued mirage of safety and protection. Because you as your manifested consequence will catch up exactly as humanity as a whole manifested consequence has caught up to us within and as the current state and manifested existence of this world reality that we're currently existing within. The human race is over. We're now stopping and returning to the dark ages, so to speak, with most of humanity living in such conditions at this stage. Assist and support self to start sorting out self, in getting a grip on self and one's world or reality, in grounding and rooting oneself back to the earth here through the physical as breath. In this process of desteni process especially, you walk a practical structural process through and as self as mind, the conscious, subconscious, unconscious, physical mind and resonances within that of constructs and systems as personality and personality behaviors on all levels, as a practical guided process of getting to know self as what self exists as through the mind in the physical. As we've stated, suggest getting to know self so that you can prepare yourself for what you're going to be facing as yourself as manifested consequence within self and one's world, so as to prepare yourself to be able to face it, stop it and stand up from within it, and in fact change self and self's world, rather than having to give the responsibility over to one's total mind consciousness system in having to find out through events and or physical experiences within self and one's world what self-manifested consequence is as self, where it usually then it's too late to change self or one's world, and one's life literally becomes but a stumbling through manifested consequence unto death, simply because self didn't want to take that one moment within that one breath to self-realize self-responsibility. I mean, as we've said, there's consequence for each and every single thought, word and deed. And your experience in this reality, and this goes for each and every single human being, no matter where or who you are, will be determined by and through you within and as the self-responsibility you take or not. So, now that we've got some perspective in relation to the current state or condition of the human being and humanity as this world within the troublesome reality that we face within ourselves, towards each other, and this world as a whole. Let's get back to the point of and as children. From my perspective, within having a look at the current state, the current condition of the human being within ourselves, our own personal worlds or realities, and the world or reality as a whole, we don't deserve bringing actual real beings into this world, this reality, within the state, the condition that it currently is and exists as. With parents raising children in fear, living with and as this fear for the rest of their life, because of the knowledge and understanding that children are not safe and not in fact secured within an absolute unwavering certainty of being all right and okay in this world. Nothing is certain in a child's life, as nothing is certain in the parents' lives. It's like everything is constantly seesawing on this precipice of everything and nothing, where one's life can change in one moment, in a matter of hours, and you can lose everything and be left with nothing. This is the extent of dependency that currently exists towards money within as and of the world system, where one's total life, everything, is dependent on, connected to, interwoven with and as money as the world system. And if the system decides to let you go, you're left with nothing. And we've become so dependent, so defined into and as this world system of money, that it's near to impossible to survive and continue living in this world, on this earth, without it. Money is life. This stress, this fear of one's life is a constant presence within and as beings. And everything of parents is exerted externally towards the system to ensure everything in their reality remains relatively stable, at least afloat, and maybe secure. With certainty only lasting the day or during the day that one lays one's head to rest and know that you've made it through this one day. Yet the next day it starts all over again, plummeting into the fear of survival, the fear of death. And so one cycles through the days in constant, continuous fear for oneself, one's family, one's life. Children are not safe or secure in this world. No matter where you are or live, danger is always here. I mean, yes, some in this world can create temporary safe environments of security, but there's always the knowing, the understanding that one cannot protect secure and safe children from all the dangers that is existent and probable within this world, this reality. Because this world is and has become dangerous, as we cannot even trust ourselves within our own mind, let alone trust each other, and in that, fear prevails, fear manifests, fear reigns. I mean, this is not an experience, a life we would have wanted for ourselves. Living in fear, living as fear. A world I would like to enter is a world where everything, everyone embraces me. Where it's like I'm walking into a mother's womb, so to speak, with the entire earth, this existence as my father, and the world and all and everything within it as my equals, as one. And I'm sure parents-to-be and parents that currently are would be grateful for the experience of bringing a child as self into this world without fear, but with the knowing and the infactness of an as absolute trust. That this being will be secured, protected, safe, and guarded by all equal and one, and have the ability, the opportunity to always, in all ways, explore, live, and experience their utmost absolute potential, boundless, limitless, eternal. I mean, this is heaven on earth. This is a world that experience to give to children as a gift to self, to explore, live, and experience self within a world, an existence, where everything is taken care of and cared for, and you have the opportunity to explore, live, and experience the true, real, in fact meaning of life, with everyone and everything assisting and supporting each other as they would themselves. I mean, come on, such a world is possible. We need only live it. At the moment, though, it's all in reverse, where the only protected environment for a child at this stage is the mother's womb for the first 9 months. And God, even that is and has become a danger zone of sorts with regards to the state and condition of foods, the environment, drugs, medications, where everything that's supposed to assist and support the human physical body naturally of and from the earth, as what the earth unconditionally provide, has been used and abused for profit and greed, for the purposed continuation of money within the money system, for the functioning of the world system. So the human physical body has adapted and changed to the altered foods that's now only produced and manufactured for those locked into a position within the world system. And the manifested consequence of our accepted and allowed interference with and as nature, as the earth, without in fact understanding, realizing the consequences due to the relationships, the fiber, the fabric of the actual physical reality we've been using and abusing, is also emerging as counter effects foods are busy creating within and as the human physical bodies, short-term and long-term, in the physical conditions of illness, disease, viruses that is emerging, manifesting, and evolving. I mean, come on, we cannot expect ourselves to literally barge into a reality, a physical existence, literally turn it inside out, uproot, change, alter the very fabric, the fiber of and as this physical existence, and then think or believe everything's going to be fine, when we did not in fact investigate, stand equal to and one with what is here. Well, now the manifested consequence is emerging, is manifesting as our own creation, is showing its face in how the human physical body is and has been reacting to foods. Food that we need, require to survive in this world or reality. We've been a danger to Earth, we've endangered what is here, and now we're in danger from and of ourselves as our own creation. I mean, food is supposed to be a human right, equal and one, as it is what this earth in fact provides unconditionally. This earth where we're all living and experiencing ourselves on, equal and one. Yet, due to and because of money in how the world system is set up within and of it, food is now a privilege for only the privileged who can secure money through a position in and as the world system. And due to the closed system design of and as the world system, only a handful of humanity can secure a position within the world system, while the majority of humanity fight for survival within deprivation, starvation, and death, where the certainty that all children will in fact have food when born into this world is non-existent. I mean, we're supposed to take care of each other in this world. We're living on this earth, in this world together. Instead, we've given this responsibility away to a system, a world system that obviously do not regard life, equal and one, but honors money as its God. And in that, money has become life. And we've come to worship money instead of honoring the life of a child, equal to and one with how we'd honor our own lives, in giving the child as ourselves everything and all that is needed, required unconditionally to live absolutely in and as this world and reality. This world reality that has currently become a place where it's literally like everything is attacking birth, a new life. Everything is tainted with and as destruction, destroying the beginning of something before it's even begun. The battle for life and living starting from the moment of conception, where it's like everything is against you from the get-go and only the lucky and fortunate make it through into this world. And then making it through in this world for a whole lifetime and being okay and fine becomes nothing short of a miracle within and when looking at the context of the current state and condition of the physical and this world and the human being within and as it. We have the responsibility and the ability to change the condition of ourselves and so also this world. We suggest you investigate the Desteni process and with that also especially the equal money system as the proposal of having equal money for each human being in this world from birth to death, which in essence mean that everything that is and will be required or needed to live fully in this world will be here, taken care of and cared for. And in and with that also thus, that each child born into this world will in fact be taken care of and cared for, equal and one, brought into a world of actual real care, love and regard. Stop the thought in your mind that you are powerless to change yourself and your world. It's really just a thought. Move through and beyond the belief of yourself as a thought. Give yourself a chance to prove to you that you can in fact change you, and in that change the world. Only you can give yourself this chance, this opportunity. Only you. I've touched briefly on only an overview in relation to facing the reality of one's relationship towards oneself, one's world, and the world as a whole, within the context of looking at the reality of the state and condition of an as self, and why and how we simply cannot accept and allow ourselves as an existence to have actual beings born into and as this world reality through and as the process of an as reincarnation. I mean, this is in fact a mercy, this point of finality. I'm sure with how this world is worsening by the second as the madness of man within becomes the reality without, you wouldn't want to be in this world in the time that comes as we start facing our manifest consequence in the manifestation of reality that is the physical through and as actual experience. I mean, I'm speaking from experience here. Understand, we've walked through our manifest consequence as our interdimensional existence, which is equal to and one with you in your process of facing your mind consciousness system as a conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. And we're now in the process of walking, facing, standing up from, and stopping ourselves as this manifested physical reality or existence. In essence, walking our process again, but from a physical reality perspective in time and space with you to assist and support in getting this process done. So I, as you, as we've existed equal and one with and as this point as mind, know exactly what you'll be facing, how and why within the experience of and as the point of and as mind. So we're giving you the most direct path in relation to and from our own practical experience of walking our process equal to and one with how and what you're walking as facing the mind as you. So instead of having to go through the long grueling time loops of physical experience, all you require is doing this. Assisting and supporting yourself with insight as common sense, in seeing what is here, in understanding, and in that realization, assist and support self with self-corrective application. You really don't need to unnecessarily suffer through reality, through manifest consequence. You have the ability to take charge, to decide, to be the directive principle. It's a simple decision to be made and to be lived. Yes, the decision is easy and the living is not so easy. But you'll spare yourself a lot of time and suffering in walking your process a lot more diligently, fast and effectively, so that you can get yourself back into your own feet, standing within your own body, and start directing, changing this world into an existence worth living in, worth being born into. And so why we finally had to draw the line of finality, where when you die this life, you will not return. As this one life is a life that you face you on all levels, once and for all. As we finally placed the mirror of ourselves in front of ourselves and said, this is it. Now you stop and you face yourself. We've got to sort out, direct, stop and change this reality here, once and for all, and literally for all, equal and one, for ourselves and each other, for the earth, for nature, for the animal kingdom, for all and everything of and as self that is here in and as this existence as self. And with children now being born, being in fact self on all levels, personally, the world, and existentially, will manifest in reality the realization, the point of and as equality and oneness. The child born is in fact self, and that the child is in fact self's future, self as an individual and self as humanity as a whole. So let's look at the physical manifestation of and as a child within the context of mind of and as self, within and as all levels of and as self, as conscious, subconscious and unconscious mind, within and as the manifestation of ego, personal world, and the world as a whole. The manifestation that will be born as the child will literally be born from this physical reality. It's what it was supposed to be like from the beginning, where a being born was supposed to be a part of this existence, this natural physical of and as equality and oneness, as an expression birthed from and of ourselves as existence as a whole. Unfortunately, as with everything we've become involved in, we've messed up such an experience as the mess we've created as this current reality, and ourselves as what physical reality as ourselves has become, from and through which children will now be born. Though such a birth of and as children as ourselves, where children will be born as manifest expression of and as the physical, as manifested equality and oneness, and in essence experience, live and share themselves with themselves, is not lost. It never has been. It's always been here. We ourselves just haven't been here. So the opportunity for such life is still here, a breath, as every breath away, that it'll take to manifest and re-establish ourselves within and as this existence equal and one, which is and will be quite a process. But if we want to get it done, we got to start somewhere, and that is here, where it all started in the first place, with ourselves as breath, and we walk and see it through, breath by breath, until it's done. So, as mentioned, the manifestation that will be born as the child will literally be born from this physical reality as what this current physical reality consists of and exists as, which at this stage is manifested consequence. So let's have a look at what this practically means for self, the child as self, and the future of self, the child and this world as self. So the being as child will and is no more be an interdimensional being, locked into a mind consciousness system, into and as the physical, to live out a pre-programmed life design. The being as child will be a manifestation of an as self within the context of one's own mind consciousness system, one's lineage as family, and the world as a whole, as all parts of self that's required to be faced to change self and this world as self. What will be birthed is in fact you, on all levels of mind, as one's internal together with one's external reality as personal world, and so also this world as a whole as self. Let's have a look at how exactly the child is a manifestation of an as self, equal and one as what self is currently accepting and allowing self to exist as and live out. The child's human physical body. The child's human physical body will be equal to and one with the body of the physical existence, which mean the being's physical reality experience will be equal to and one with you, in and as this physical reality. Meaning that you as and with the child have to face, walk through, stop and change from and of the manifested consequence that is this world as a whole. In stopping and changing the functioning and existing of the world as a whole, as the current manifested world system in and as which humanity function and exist. To transform the world into an as reality where all human beings can function and exist within an as equality and oneness. We already have the solution for that, which is the equalmoney system, investigated as the practical solution that will change the life of each and every single human being on earth. And not only that, but also the life of earth, nature, and the animal kingdom. So, equal to and one with you, the child as you, as a literal mini-me, will have to walk through the world system as it exists and find, establish, and live the way to change it into a reality that is best for all, equal and one. Equal to and one with what self is and will be walking, facing, and living right now, or eventually. The child's mind consciousness system. As we've explained in detail within video interviews, the mind consciousness system has been inverted into an as self, into an as the physical, where self as the being, in as and with the physical, is in fact now your mind manifest. It's no more a separate system. So the child will be manifested in as the physical, as a being that is a mind consciousness system, where the being is the mind within and as the physical. Everything merged here, equal and one. So that what we live out in as and through the physical is in fact what we are. So that we can in fact change ourselves through and as actual practical physical living. This is how human beings currently exist. It's what you are and living through the physical. The mind that you are and have become. So the only way to actual change is to in fact change you in as and with the physical through actual practical physical living self-change. We'll also be doing interviews to come and laying out the practicalities and extent of what practical physical living self-change in fact mean, and together with the examples of how to later on. But what must be understood, realized, is that change is not only done in the head. To change, in fact, you got to change you through, with, and as the physical, in how you act, behave, express in your physical living movement of and as action in this world, this reality. You cannot just think yourself into change. You've got to live your change for real, in fact. So, the children will no more be a separate system as mind manifested into the physical. Their individual process is manifested as themselves, as the mind, in as and with the physical human body. So the equation no more consists of three separate parts as the being plus the mind plus the physical. The equation is now one, as the being is the mind and is the physical. Everything merged here as one to be faced, equal and one. So the being's world process is manifested as the substance of and as the physical human body, which is common sense, as they'll walk through in and as this world and live in, experience, and so face this world as themselves. The being's personal process is manifested as themselves, as the being that is the mind in the physical, and this being as mind is an exact, precise, equal, and one extension from and of self as the parents. So, the mind, the individual process as being that will emerge from and through the physical reality as world system of and as this existence will be your mind as and of parents. Whether both single or no parents of the child is involved in the child's life, the child's primary process do not change in relation to themselves and the world, as equal to and one with what the parents face as themselves and the world. Understand, what is being birthed as children is what is in fact existing as the human being at this stage. You are the mind in the physical, in fact, walking your individual process as mind, as you, and your world process as the physical reality, as you. And this is what is going to be born, birthed as you, as a child, your internal and external process. So what happens within the relationship of and within the world system through and as minds is the minds of the male and female merge, wherein you create and manifest a mind within and as each other that defines the life of the relationship as the relationship entity that you become within yourselves and your world. It is this mind that will manifest as the being, as child, as self. Obviously, this point, this manifestation of relationship and the relationship mind as relationship entity that beings become as possession that is lived through the physical into reality, that self eventually become as self entirely and completely, will be discussed, laid out and explained, together with the required practical self-support and self-assistance of transforming and changing one's relationships of mind to agreements with and as the physical in walking with someone equal and one. So, with the child being born, the mind that defined you with and as another, which you became with and as another, and lived out in, through, and as the physical as you, is what will become the being as child in the physical's individual process as self. So, the child will thus manifest as the current now of and as self as the mind, as the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind self is living here. So it'll be one's primary, most absolute point of an as self, as mind, that requires being faced and changed as the child, as self, to stop the sins of the fathers, to stop the point of self as mind completely. So whether father or mother is absent within the child's life experience in this world and reality, the child as mind, as physical manifest reality that requires to be faced, stopped, changed, and stood up from, the mother or father alone can walk the child through the process, because you don't need the father or mother together, because the mind within the father and mother is exactly the same as the mind of and as each other that merged and manifested the relationship towards and with each other that defined each other as individuals and together. So single parents can't use the excuse of not seeing the child's process through as you, as self, equal and one. When or if the child is conceived by and through a one-night stand or through other means within and as our technological evolutionary developments, where there was no physical relationship involved, understand, even the egg, the semen, there exists the totality of the physical reality of and as the mind, of and as being. And so what will emerge as the male and female is their minds' base platform structures and systems of energetic manifested substance that child as being through the physical will become and exist as to walk as their individual process as self. Thus, why we suggest establish and walk within and as agreements, as equals and one within this process. Agreements of assisting and supporting self and so each other in walking this process out of the mind and into the physical, into equality and oneness. Then, if having a child is an experience you'd like to have, you're more prepared to face you as and with the child that is in fact you on all levels of mind and physical reality. Agreements is a point that will also become part of these in-depth specific discussions in practical support and assistance in walking with self as and with another in this world, this reality, in establishing relationships of trust and dignity to be able to walk through what is to come as manifest consequence in and as this existence as self. So the being's conscious mind layer of and as themselves as mind in the physical will be consisting of and existing as your personal self-definition of and as mind, as the primary ego personality you require standing up from, stopping and changing. The being's subconscious mind layer of and as themselves as mind in the physical will consist of and exist as parts of self, of environment, family and friends that define self and self's world, that determine, control and influence one's self-definition as the conscious mind as ego, and so also one's relationship to and behavior with and as others, and relationships within one's world and one's reality that shaped, manifested and molded one's external world as one's own personal world. Then the being's unconscious mind layer of and as themselves as mind in the physical will consist of and exist as the habits, patterns, time loops and cycles of experiences, events as memories and resonances of and as the past that controlled, influence and determines one's physical behavior, and so definition of and as self in as and through one's living in and as the physical within self and one's world. And finally, the being's physical mind as physical body of and as themselves as mind in the physical is the world as a whole, as we discussed earlier. So, see, the being as child through the physical will in fact be a manifestation of an as self, equal and one. And so both parents will play an integral role in walking this process through with the child or children as self. No matter how many children you have, the emergence of what will be here will be exactly the same, facing self in all ways on all levels. So here, we discussed and laid out the primary manifestation of and as the being as child that will emerge in and as and of the world, from and of self, specifically regarding parents and single parents. I'm not going to go into too much detail at this stage regarding the exact precise process a child will walk within this world, within their experience of having both parents, single parents, orphaned and or raised within foster care, or within and as various other ways as what is currently the experience of children within and as this world. We'll definitely get into the detail in time to come. But to be able to walk with children as self, in fact, equal and one, as what they in fact are and have become in being born into this world through and as self, as what self is currently existing as within self and this world as self, you've got to walk with yourself first, equal and one. In this, be able to walk through and stand within one's own conscious, subconscious and unconscious mind, and to take on and walk through and face the physical reality as world as self. So the interviews to come, we'll be walking through ourselves as the mind, the conscious, subconscious and unconscious mind, to see what it is that we're exactly facing as ourselves, to prepare ourselves to walk with ourselves and our children as ourselves, in facing, stopping and standing up from, and so changing this world as ourselves. Our children is us, our future. Through ourselves, our children as ourselves, we can change this world as ourselves. And the interesting thing is that one will note is that with the children, if you faced yourself as the mind, as the conscious, subconscious and unconscious mind, in walking through and as the physical, one will in fact be able to assist and support any being as self. Because we've all in fact always been exactly the same as mind in the physical, and we still are. We're already equal and one, just not in a way that is best for all. We're equal to and one with our own separation and abuse within ourselves, which is what we're currently creating and manifesting as ourselves, a world of separation, abuse and manifested consequence. So we have to assist and support ourselves to be equal to and one with the physical, equality and oneness. And so all stand within and become equality and oneness, living equal and one, a principle that's best for all, and so create a reality that's best for all. This will show, reveal and become more clear in time to come, where you will see we can assist and support each other as anyone, because we are the same and we've walked ourselves. If we've walked ourselves, we can assist and support others as ourselves in walking themselves. It all starts with self. Thank you.